We are live.
We are live. All right. Awesome.
I may have to adjust the frame. You might want to get this beautiful tablecloth more in the picture.
Oh, I suppose so.
Cover for me.
It is a beautiful tablecloth.
Cover for me. This is our opening.
This is our opening. So we are live. But what are we doing live?
It is the 20th episode
Of
Arty Time.
Arty Time.
Arty Time.
Arty
on.
on. Excellent.
Thanks for artying with us.
Yeah, for 20 episodes, and it's pretty hard to believe that a guy who was like terrified to get on camera in episode 1 has sat here for 20 episodes.
And look at us. We even have our own unique beginning to the show where we set the frame and we...
I don't know.
I don't think anyone else has that kind of opening to a show.
Yeah, I don't know how many episodes of Wayne's World there were, but we might be catching up to them if we haven't passed them already.
Oh shit, because this is not a real show.
Yeah, exactly. And
This is a real show.
this is a real show. Yeah, we're real people.
What do you want to talk about today?
Let's talk about let's talk
do?
about the actors who play Adam Millward and GermDee.
Okay. Sometimes I like to be at my house and just do art, and that's it.
That's
And
pretty.
sometimes I have to do other things, like go and show face and be like, I was just in a contest this weekend, and I didn't know about the contest. I'm hanging out with my son, and they're all like, where are you at? This contest is going down. You're 6 hours late. And I was like, oh, shoot. So I won. I
You
went.
won.
No, I went, but I didn't win. I went, and it went well. It went well. I painted with one of my friends who's a younger artist, and it was kind of his, first time experience painting something that big, and I hope he had fun.
Yeah, I mean, one day I gotta come down with you when you do some mural work and something, because I think my mandala style is made for big walls, but I've never done it, and yeah.
It would be crazy
I
with
just gotta do
rollers.
it once or twice, Like I could see myself, doing something pretty, because it's fast. I mean, I see Chris cover these, I know Chris has a lot of experience doing it, and he's got a good flow when he's working, and he works like hard. Like he doesn't take a lot of breaks,
Mm-hmm.
So I know there's that factor to it of how he gets stuff done so fast, but just as a medium, spray paint is a lot faster to use. You can cover a lot more space in a lot less time than with brush and acrylic paint on a canvas. So I think, at one point I really want to get into that. I think it'd be pretty dope.
One thing that I learned with painting from with a younger person was he had this tip on a spray paint that was like a nozzle and was shooting it out, making it all messy. And the young kids, they like it messy. They like it raw.
Mm.
And that's what the mural kind of was. So I don't know if you're watching it. Just look at my Instagram if you want to see the picture. It's really loosening up of a style. I was doing the lines once and stopping there.
Mm.
And with armor coats and rustos. So it was quite punk.
Mm.
You could put it that way. You know what I mean? It looked like a punk mashup of the style. Much more raw. And that's what inspired me in the new pieces that I'm doing, which is they're smaller and then with micron pencils where you kind of get you get an effect to it. You get a raw effect to it.
Nice.
Yeah, I tried to figure out a way to turn that into art, and we were talking about that outside, which is the pieces that I showed you, which are, stained.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I think that's a cool concept. First of all, anything can be art. So, if you're watching this and you're concerned about, your style or whatever, that's one thing that, you don't. It's not a huge influence on whether your art sells or not. What's the huge influence is the person, the consistency, the effort, the everything that comes behind it.
The story behind it.
The story behind it, exactly, and that's how Arty Time started. Was talking about stories. So that's kind of awesome that episode 20 we're back to talking about the story.
Mm-hmm.
And no, the story of what you showed me 5 minutes ago, that was super interesting to me. Right away, the first thing you showed me gave me nostalgic things. I had flashbacks to other things that it made me think of.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in a lot of senses with your style of art, anyways, the way your style of art resonates with me a lot of times is it makes me feel sort of like a kid again, but it also, like, I see the marketing behind all these characters and logos that you use in your thing, like how my emotional attachment to these characters and cartoons is sort of fake, but it's
And
not
real
at the same time. It's not. It's real. Like, you see, almost anyone sees Mickey Mouse, and something's gonna happen, like where it gives you somewhat of a good feeling. You know, for me anyway. I know for most people.
Well, it's like seeing an old friend. Seeing an old friend could be really nice.
Yeah.
Granted that they're doing well.
Yeah.
If they're doing well, it's a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And Mickey's always doing quite fine because he looks the same.
Yeah. Well, no, he doesn't even look the same. He changes like every 20 years or something.
But you could draw him in a way that disturbs people for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just happy to draw him not in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is a true power that has been placed on our minds by the fact that we have very powerful imaginations.
That's 100%
and
true.
You know, the more people are subjected to your art, the more that they remember it,
Mm-hmm.
and the more they embellish it with their imagination. To be honest.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, one of my favorite things to do when I make a new painting, or I used to post on Facebook pretty often, like, what does this one make you think of, or what do you see in this one? And I would get so many different answers. You know, back when Facebook would let more than 0.5% of my fans see a post, I'd get like literally sometimes 150, 200 comments on a piece like that. And the thing that amazed me the most is how different they all were. You know, like, sometimes there would be a chain where, like, it was pretty obvious that they saw the last comment and, like, it influenced the next comment. But still, out of 150 comments, there would be 120 different interpretations of it, and then some would be kind of similar. But that always amazed me about art, how people can have such different opinions of it, and how it can make different people have different experiences. For some people, art will trigger, like me and your art, it triggers you know, childhood memories and like happy feelings of when I was a kid and things like that. Whereas other people might see your art and just go right to the like punk corporate, like fuck all the corporations type of thing, and like resonate with that before they resonate with the childhood thing. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, possibilities.
It's a mixed bag enough, so in there, I think both will be effective.
Right. But like, it depends on who's looking and where they're coming from.
Oh, it's very nuanced in the sense that, like, it's designed in such a way that if they don't understand the message, they're still gonna like it. I'm never coming at you with the hardcore message right in your face.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can read into it, then there's something in there.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, it's just like, fuck that. Let's have a gas and have a laugh using these things like Richie Rich on Astro Boy and call it Iron Man, because isn't Iron Man just some rich white guy in a fucking robot suit?
Pretty much.
And that's a way to say that in just icons of the mind or icons of the culture, really.
Yeah, and you know, that's I'm seeing a lot, like, you know, I'm kind of paying attention a lot to artists' work who seems to sell consistently, and I'm finding that a lot of artists' work who sells consistently is fan art and or pop art that uses characters and or people that like people are familiar with, like we've mentioned Danny Rebel before. Danny, I don't know if you're watching, man, but I've seen you post up some paintings recently, and they're sold. And it's like their portraits of Kurt Cobain was one I just saw recently, which was fucking amazingly done. And like, it does help to be making art of things that people already have emotional connections to. Like, there's lots of people that have an emotional connection to Kurt Cobain. Like, there's lots of people that have emotional connections to Mickey and Bart and whoever other characters and Nike logos and things like that. So it is something to consider. Like, if you're trying to, if it's something to consider. Something to
Mhm.
consider if you're running a business as an artist. It's something to look into, that phenomena of sort of piggybacking on other people's
It's on our culture.
It's culture, exactly. It's not
You're piggybacking
on culture. You're piggybacking on people's memories and emotions of things that they can relate to, and it's really no different than painting a landscape of a place, that like painting the Eiffel Tower.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mickey is like an
Eiffel
Tower.
He's
Mickey's
like
the Eiffel Tower of childhood cartoons, and there's like. This is something I don't think we've ever talked about, but I saw brought up in an art group the other day, is like copyright laws and like issues when you're using characters like that. Like some people will be afraid to ever use them because they know or they think that it's completely illegal.
It's kind of illegal to make like 500,000 Mickey shirts and try and sell them to local businesses or businesses in general. I think that's the threshold when it becomes illegal, because there's been people like Lichtenstein, I think is his name or whatever, who painted Mickey straight up, and in the 70s or whatever, and made millions. And they never went after him. So I think you're pretty safe. And if you go to court, just bring up the case of Lichtenstein versus Disney, which never happened because he got made.
I'm not this is not legal advice, but it's advice on how to not get yourself into too much legal trouble, perhaps. There are pretty much, until you get a cease and desist letter, anything's fair game.
What? It's true. What are you gonna do?
Once you get a cease and desist letter, then you have to stop. But you can pretty much make anything and sell anything until the point you get a cease and desist letter. Let's face it. So there's two kinds of people out there. There's people who will never do anything because they're afraid one day they'll get that cease and desist letter and it will ruin their career that they built on this thing, and now they can't do this thing anymore because of the cease and desist letter. And then you've got other people who look at the odds and other well-known artists who are using these characters and see they've never gotten a cease and desist letter, and they just go for it. So that's that. You can go for it if that's what you're worried about or thinking in your head, like, I can't do this because of this or that or the other thing. Like, well, you can until you get a cease and desist letter, and until you get big, like you said, like Germ mentioned, if you're making paintings of like Mickey or fan art and things like that, technically you're not really supposed to be able to sell those and make money off them, even if they're a one-off and you're not reproducing.
I've seen one guy get his like an account shut down because of it by Fox. It was quite interesting. That one person got taken out, but he was doing like straight up the characters and straight up fan art.
It also
with the
depends on like. On a platform like Etsy, for example, they have bots that like scan to get rid of copyright infringement before it becomes a problem for Etsy.
That's hilarious.
So if you use things like hashtag Mickey Mouse, hashtag Disney, hashtag da-da-da in your listings, then they're gonna get taken down and stuff like that. I've heard of that happening to one lady who was making like wands or something. They weren't actually Harry Potter wands, but Harry Potter fans would look up something like that, so she used hashtag Harry Potter and Etsy shut her down, and like she had to go through She had to go through a big battle to be like, why did this get shut down? Because I have nothing to do with Harry Potter. It's just like, if people are Harry Potter fans, like this might appeal to them. But
this is the whole like dichotomy that we live in, which is the past doesn't want evolution, but the present wants evolution and needs the past to relinquish it, Because if we can just, especially that's why we've been driving around in like on dinosaur farts for 100 years, you know what I mean? Where it's like, there could be an electric car. There was an electric car.
Yeah, there was. Some of the very first cars were electric.
Oh, you're talking about all the way back then?
Yeah, in like 1910 and 11, there was electric cars. Like, they had a crank thing, and they charged up the battery with a crank, and like, they were literally electric cars. Like, I've seen them. Like, they existed.
But
if I'm not mistaken, there was one even made by Chrysler.
Well, GM had one.
Yeah, okay, well...
And they crushed it, and they called them all back, they crushed them, and they released the Hummer instead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really remember... I don't know the story.
EV1
I'm really No, I'm talking about in 1910, 1915.
EV1. But the point is that there has to still be, like, some kind of a fight against the past. And that's why co-opting the culture is
well, I don't see it as a fight.
When
it's done that way, I think it more like shaking hands with the past. It's like...
Of course.
It's not a fight with the past.
Oh, no, it's just what has to be done.
Yeah.
Like remixing in music, sampling in music.
Mm-hmm.
It's being done anyways on the top of the charts, but they'll say you can't do it. And then if you do it, they'll join them.
Mm-hmm.
Join them, but don't do it.
Yeah, only if it gets popular, you're allowed to do it. So I mean, that's kind of the way it works. Is if it gets popular, you're allowed to do it to a certain extent, you know. But
and I think that's one of your styles of art, which is mandalas.
Mm-hmm.
It is a known thing.
It's definitely a known thing, and symmetry literally is proven to like have effects on people's brains when you look at something symmetrical. Like even looking at faces, like people whose faces are more symmetrical are judged as being more beautiful by like when they show.
By the bots.
Yeah, 100. No, not even by the bots. When they show like 100 faces to 100 different people, those 100 different people will consistently rate the more symmetrical faces as being more attractive. Just the mind resonates with symmetry, so the mandala definitely has something.
But on episode 20 of Arty Time, Adam is about to admit the biggest secret of all: you use tools to make your mandalas, don't you? Rulers, compasses, all of the above.
No, I don't use any of that.
I thought you were going to tell the people on episode 20 that you did that.
No, well,
we're not supposed to talk about that?
You can talk
That's
about
what you get for baby blood, bitch!
It's all good. I don't know. No, I did. There was a time when I used the,
Oh, here we go.
Oh, man, I forget. It's a big machine. And it plants things out. It's a retro encabulator. You can look it up on Google. And the retro encabulator, it has like non-spurving bearings, and it also has like what? It helps keep everything level. The non-spurving bearings, and it has panometric flans. So like on both sides.
It plans it out.
Mm-hmm.
It plans it out.
Well, it pretty much does it for you. It's by Rockwell. You can go look it up. And yeah.
So a lot of your early paintings were done by the Rockwell Encabulator?
Retro Encabulator.
Oh, I thought it was Encabulator.
No, it's Retro Encabulator. It encabulates things in a retro way.
I wish you would go back to it and finish this painting that's behind us, because it is now episode 20, and this painting's still not done.
This painting's still not done. It isn't. I've been too into the mandala zone lately.
But does this one have something that's also like you're using somewhat of a digital feel that we remember?
Yeah, I mean, this style of my art up here, these are really inspired by video games in the 80s. Like, I totally approach each one like I'm designing a video game level, where each level is different, but if you look at 10 of them together, you'll know they're from the same game.
When you sell them, do people say that they feel that too?
Yeah, a lot of times when people, like, that's honestly, when I started painting this style, I didn't even know how to describe it. Like, the first painting I did in that style, it was just completely different from anything I'd done before. I wasn't really thinking about it. I just let the flow go. I wanted to make something not symmetrical and just a little more loose and fun. And so that's how that style started. And, people were asking me about it at first, and I'm like, I don't really know where it came from. I just went with the flow. It was like whatever came out. But over posting, 4 or 5 of them, people were like, it looks like graffiti or like video games. And then I started kind of seeing how, yeah, they kind of do look almost like a video game landscape kind of thing. And, a lot of it's inspired by 80s, like, Lisa Frank school supplies and Swatch watches and the cheesy fluorescent Vornay shirts and like animal patterns and zebra things and like all those weird, funky, bright fashions and design elements that were popular in like the mid 80s to the early 90s, like Pee-wee's Playhouse.
You feel like they're coming back a bit out of you?
Well, I definitely feel that, because I have a lot of fun when I'm making that style. It's very different from when I paint a mandala. Mandala is very much, there's discipline involved in it. And like mandalas kind of teach you things and act like a sort of like a healing vibe. There's something spiritual to them. Whereas like this style is more for me is more playful.
Which is healing as well.
Yeah, that's why I started doing it, because the mandalas and everything kind of felt a little bit like I got to a point where after I finished this big one here, and like I just kind of wanted something different. I wanted to try something different, just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of made me feel a little bit more like a quote unquote like a real artist instead of just a mandala artist. Like, you know, I still can't paint a portrait. I'd suck at a landscape or something like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, there's something else inside of me. There's other things inside of me. But I'm not just like a quote unquote one trick pony. But at the same time, like I still think it's important for me.
I don't know anyone else that has two distinct styles.
Not to go with like 5 more styles, because there are other styles inside of me for sure.
Yeah.
I could create new styles for sure, but like long term, I think it's important for a brand to have an identity, and an artist brand identity is their art. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you just ask me? Sorry.
I'd like to see one of those styles one time in private, like just like I was thinking of this.
Well, if you'll wait a minute, like I don't know if I ever showed it on Arty Time.
What?
There was a third style. There was a second style before this became the second
Get
style.
it. I'll cover for you.
It might even
have one?
It's probably scratched up and covered in cobwebs, but I have
Bro,
one.
this is episode 20.
This is episode 20. Secrets are being revealed.
What's gonna happen in episode 25? You're gonna have to stick around, possibly a month, because we make about one a week now. I'm excited to see this. And I'm a little tired after this contest that I was in. I haven't been home much, guys.
There is
I just wanna
literally
be
like
home.
spider
I
webs
just
and
want to be
dust
chilling at
on
home.
it, so like, here you go.
Oh, the globs, yeah. I actually like this. It reminds me of like potential amoebas that are inside
spider
you.
webs and like dust all over it. But yeah, I mean this.
Why does it always look native, your shit? This one looks like.
This one I think I called it.
This reminds me of native art again.
I think I called it Slimer Phone Home or something like that, because like this looks like Slimer sort of from the Ghostbusters, and this like is like some weird alien phone apparatus. So I don't know. I did sign it, but yeah, I made 3 paintings in this style just because people wanted to see something different, and this is one of them. And
then they were like, go back to
hardly anyone ever sees this, so like you know, there you go. It's a rare little glimpse into that.
You still know where to put color and stuff to make it pleasing. You know, you could see in there.
This one also has like some black light on it. I don't know if you want to turn on the light there.
Oh, episode 20. We never did this before.
Oh yeah, it's like after dark. It's Arty Time after dark.
Hit it.
Club vibe.
Whoa!
It's got some-
All right.
There we go.
All right. So, how much is that moving for? What do you want? Like $20?
$20? I don't know. It's 20 inches by 20 inches. I mean, if anybody really
I'm
wants
paying
it.
$1 square inch here.
Ooh, no, it's 400 square inches.
Oh, 400. 400. Wow.
20 times 20 is 400.
That'd be a cool way to price your stuff, you know?
Actually, it's not. There's a lot of people that price their art by square inch, and I don't think it's a very smart way to price art because people are bad at math, like you. Just thought 20 by 20 was $20. And
Yeah,
it's
but
not,
you
it's 400.
You do the whole line and you end with the price, and then they're just mesmerized.
Yeah, I know, but people like somebody is gonna think that, like, say for example, a 16 by 16 versus an 8 by 8. They're gonna think a 16 by 16 is twice as big as an 8 by 8, but it's not. It's 4 times as big. And then if you get up into really big sizes, like a 40 by 40, people are gonna think that's 4 times the size of a 10 by 10.
So
But it's not. It's gigantically more than 4 times the size of a 10 by 10. So I think that's a bad way to price art, personally.
No, I hear you. You should just come up with the price.
Well, I have a formula on how I price my art.
Let's hear it.
And I'm pretty sure we've
Give me a
spoken
chalkboard?
about this before. Oh, it's pretty complicated, man. Like, I hope you understand it.
Probably takes an
Advanced
encabulator
quantum
or something.
physics. Yeah, you might want to need a
Rockwell.
retro encabulator for this one. Rockwell. Look it up on Google, man. It's an amazing machine. It can be used for drafting. It can be used for anything to do with line work, and you know, like it has what else does it have?
Don't lose the pricing. Don't go into it and lose that you're talking about your formula for pricing.
Right, the formula for pricing. Okay. The formula for pricing is personally the way I do it, and it's because everyone else who's ever worked understands it. Some art business advisors might have a different opinion on this. I think if you're just starting to sell art, if you've been selling art for 20 years and you're in galleries, then you're in a whole other ballgame and don't use this formula. But if you're just starting to sell your art, you're in the first 4 or 5 years of your career, you don't have other people selling your art yet for you. I think you price it by hours plus materials times 2. So you add your hours that you spent on it, pay yourself whatever wage you deserve, start at minimum wage. If you haven't sold any art before, no matter if you've been making art for 10 years, if you haven't sold any art before, the art market, you're a beginner. So, try to sell art at minimum wage plus your materials times 2. Minimum wage pays you, the materials pays the materials, the times 2 pays your business and gives you some money to put into growing your business. However that's going to be, whether it be making money to, put a down payment on a table at an event where you're going to sell your art live, whether it be buying a website and having your own thing,
But that works even like as you age as an artist, because you just change what you want to get paid for.
I think it works throughout your whole career, yes. But then again, there are some artists, like my art, like this painting took me 520 hours. You, in your entire career, you will never make a painting that takes you 520 hours. Never. So
I will challenge you, sir.
There's gonna come.
I will challenge you right now.
You don't have the patience.
I'll make a machine that keeps.
If you had a retro encabulator, maybe.
Yeah, and then it just keeps running for 600 hours, and then at the end I put the final strokes on it. We're done here.
The only way I could see you making a painting that would take that long is if you literally had one canvas and painted over it every day.
Oh.
And then have that as your I spent 520 hours on this, whereas the last thing that you can see literally took you an hour.
No, that could be interesting if there's just one canvas.
But my point about the hourly wage thing is it's not necessarily going to work for all artists at all points of their career, because there's some artists that the way they make art is throwing a bucket of paint on the thing.
I do that.
And if you're getting well known, sure, man, charge $10,000 for that. Don't be like, I didn't spend a lot of time on it, so it's not worth a lot of money. For sure, there's definitely styles and kinds and ways to make art quickly, where if your career's trajectory is taking you to where people are willing to pay a lot of money for that, that's fine. That's awesome. So that's why I said it might not work for your entire career, but especially at the beginning, that's something that someone can understand. When they ask you, why is that $400? You can say, because it took me 20 hours. And I charge $20 an hour. You don't need to tell them the whole story of the times 2 and the materials and all that, But in your head,
so you have a cover game. You have a cover game too on top of that.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, for me, that's something that I've always done. I've always kept track of how long my art takes me, because I'm working towards that 10,000 hours to master something idea. So A, I needed to keep track of my hours for that, and B, I needed to keep track of my hours to price it using that formula that I use.
Could you use your quantum brain to figure out how many Arty Time episodes would there have to be for us to become masters at Arty
Time? If our average episode is an hour each, 10,000. It's pretty simple math.
That's funny.
9,980 episodes to go, bro.
Oh my god.
Bro, only 9,980 to go. What's so big deal about that?
That just blew my mind, bro. I thought you were gonna be 100.
No, man. 10,000 hours. 10,000
Okay, so you
episodes.
really gotta dedicate your life to some shit to be good
No,
at it.
if you work 2 hours, or if you work 20 hours a week on something, that's 1,000 hours a year. So
half.
if
If you work half,
if you work
part-time,
20
if you work
hours a week
part-time,
on something,
if you were part-time on something,
well, like 20 hours a week. So like say for example, you paint 4 hours a day.
yeah.
For your 5 days a week, there's your 20 hours. So that's what mostly I was doing for the first 4 or 5 years of my career, especially. I was painting 4 or 5 hours a day every day. Like now I paint less because like it's so I have to spend a lot more time doing all the other shit to get my art out there. Before I just used to have to make one post, hit share 300 times. It took me 20 minutes, and then I would go back and paint, and then come back 2 hours later and respond to comments and da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's a whole other thing. It takes me 3 hours to post on all my social medias, and then a lot longer to go back through them all and reply to all my comments and everything like that, which is why I've been doing it less. Like it's a lot of work, and the results just aren't coming as much as they used to. So
But if you do it 9 hours a day, you will be a master in half a year.
in half the time, yeah. I mean, if it's going to take 10,000 hours, then that's even at 40 hours a week, that's still going to take 5 years.
That's madness.
It's madness, but I mean, it's not. It's not really madness. It's respect for your craft. It's respect for what you're doing. It's dedication.
But it's just funny that if you just do 1 hour, it's gonna take you forever.
Yeah.
If you invest 9 hours all the time.
Yeah. No,
then
it's,
it
and that's
happens
the
in
difference.
instant.
That's the that's what
I think
separates.
that's a big point here. It's
It's a huge point.
It's an episode 20 point here.
It's a huge point. It's what separates the men from the boys. Let's face it. It's what separates the long-term dedicated people in anything, whatever it is that you do.
I showed up an hour late today because I was drunk.
Because you were drawing?
Drawing.
Oh, nice. I thought you said because I was drunk. I'm like, what?
No, I was drawing. I was drawing. Like now that I have the more loose style, I pumped those 9 graphics, and they're all fucking money.
Mm-hmm.
And I pumped 9 instead of 1.
Mm-hmm.
Opening it up, and it's just like
Mm-hmm.
relax, Casper, bro. I just want to write just die. Wait, you know, like the diet font and the just do it font. I don't know. It's like a tab. It's open, you know, and now it's not a stress to just.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, I don't know. Like I don't know where the conversation went this way, but
oh, it's episode 20.
oh yeah, it's the mastery. It's the mastery. The 10,000 hours of mastery. That's what we're getting to, and the 10,000 hours thing for me personally, I think it's in anything you do. It's what if you're whatever your job is. Like I'd rather be treated by a doctor that's had 10,000 hours of time working in the emergency room. I'd rather have a pilot with 10,000 hours of flying time flying my plane. It's just like it makes sense. You know, if you've dedicated that much time to a certain thing, it becomes second nature to you. And I think that's the concept behind it. I think the concept evolved like from martial arts, if I'm not mistaken. I've honestly never read the book. I know there's a book called 10,000 Hours to Mastery or something like that. I wish I could drop the author's name. I don't know it. I just know the book exists. So it's a concept that's
piggybacking this concept.
Yeah. Well, I'm not piggybacking. I'm not claiming it as my own concept. I'm claiming that I'm working towards that ideal of becoming a mandala master. And, you know, I've got around 8,000 hours under my belt, maybe 8,200 hours right now. So, you know, and I've been painting
It's like a video game
for a little more than 7 years. And I'm still not at 10,000 hours. And
it's tough because it's all subdivided. To me, it's all subdivided into different things sometimes. So, like, I don't really know if I would believe in some of them. Like, your line work is definitely something. Your drafting of the mandala only occurs in the opening phases with the confabulator.
Retro encabulator.
And because it only happens... Okay, consider this. Because the painting gets drafted in the beginning... then there's only a specific amount of time that was put into the draft, and therefore you're not mandala master draftsman until you have 10,000 of those hours.
I can see where you're coming
Then
from, but
you're doing fills. So
but
when you
the
do
mandala-
the fills,
the
that's
mandala
10,000
is
of the
the
fills and
mandala
the lines.
is the whole process. It's like saying an architect isn't a master until he's designed 10,000 foundations. It's like, you know, the whole building requires a foundation. So of course the architect's going to design a foundation, but the rest of the building
that fucks with me sometimes.
The rest of the building is where you want to live in and move into, and that everyone's going to go, wow, what a beautiful thing. So like the line, the original creation of the pattern for me is not where the dedication comes after that. The dedication is building it. But it's one thing to conceive of it and have the outline of it, but to fill it in and then add all the line work and all the dots and the details.
But you can understand my point.
That's the construction.
Like, when you do the line work, as I do as well, the black line or just any line, you only do that at a certain point.
Yeah.
It's not the whole painting, and therefore to become a master linesman, like you're pulling crazy straight lines, and I've seen other ones where they weren't straight, and I can see the progression. But there's 10,000 in my mind in that itself.
There could be, but then I'd have to, you know, like
you can see the
basically like 4 layers to one of my mandalas. I make the outline, I color it in, then I do line work, then I do dots and details. So like 4.
So once you get to your 10,000,
so I need to
it's time to subdivide
I need to do 30,000 more.
Yeah. And then I will truly submit.
I'm just going back to playing guitar. Fuck this art shit. I already got 30,000 hours on that.
And that's more like, I guess it could be subdivided too. But the painting, what I'm really trying to say is it's there's different things in it. Especially for me, there's conceptual.
I don't consider
there's design.
I don't consider those. You know, obviously.
I'm no longer thinking of design once I'm applying the design. Now there's other traits that are coming in that need 10,000 hours.
But it's like, say, like I make a foundation.
How would the whole thing be in my mind? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, there's other artists that work that way, where the whole thing is in their mind, and then they have to take it out of their mind and make it. Me, I'm different. Like, especially with the mandala style, like it all comes piece by piece. I won't know what color I'm gonna put in the next section until I lay down the first color. That's going to inspire me to go on to the next color and affect what the end result is going to be. Like the process affects the result, and that's important. That's some philosophy right there.
I think that's important in art.
It's important in life
because but definitely. But in the art, it shows that intuition. Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing when you like let go a bit and have intuition take over. You can really make something that surprises even you and therefore others as well.
That's why I love making art. When I finish a painting, I'm always still to this day surprised that
you did it.
That I did it. And it always amazes me, and that's
why you have a Rockwell and Fabulator.
That's why I keep making more paintings, because of that feeling of accomplishment, the feeling of amazement, really, that like, wow, this thing came out of me and my hands did that. And like, you know, thankfully I sold enough of them that I was able to get a Rockwell and retro encabulator, and now
the rest is history.
The rest is history, exactly. So
I really need one.
I suggest for every artist out there, if you don't have a retro encabulator or you've never heard of one, just you look it up on YouTube. There's a guy explaining it. It looks big and complicated. It's hard to understand. You might have to Google a bunch of the terms that he's talking about. But, you know, look up panometric flanks. They help. Spurving bearings.
They've helped you in the past, clearly.
Definitely.
Look,
I would
where
not
you are
be,
now.
I would not be where I am now.
We're sitting on a table that literally has your painting.
Well, it literally has my paint on it, yes, but it also has a tablecloth that's made from one of my paintings. So, there you go. Like,
you're always advertising.
Hell yeah. That's what we as artists have to do. Always advertise.
I guess, hey, there's no
get Wi-Fi at your place and we can film Arty Time from Germ Studio.
Oh, we could pre-record it.
We could, I guess.
It wouldn't be live.
We are not live.
We should do that one day.
We totally should.
The background would be funky.
It would be.
And we need to change up the background, bro.
Yeah, we do. Well, hopefully I'll finish this painting and we can hang it on the wall.
If you guys could leave in the comment what was your favorite background, that could really help. We'll bring it back.
Well, it's pretty much been like 2 different backgrounds.
No, it was the couch.
The other couch.
And there was the other couch.
Yeah.
And then once I think there was a little bit of guitar.
The very first episode I think I opened with some guitar.
The first episode?
Yeah. The very first episode.
That's something that we didn't continue with?
Yeah, that's something we did not continue with.
Oh, then we just went straight to the framing master and we're live.
Yeah. That's pretty much.
And we shuffled to our seats.
Yeah.
I guess that really shows that there is no one else here. There is no cameraman. As much as people like to, they want to see the fourth wall. It literally exists. It's behind this camera property enough.
Yeah, and it is actually blank right now because I have some art hanging at some other locales, which I don't know if we've talked about. All right, I think we have. If you have like an overstock of art hanging it in other venues, we've spoken about that.
Yeah, but don't spread yourself thin.
Yeah.
For the love of God, don't spread yourself thin. If someone's like, they have room for one, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get a spot where they're going to put more than one, and therefore, you don't have to get 5 places.
Mm-hmm.
You just get one spot, put them all there, get a wall, put them all up, and hopefully a spot that would want it to stay. That's a really important part. Because if the people have an affinity to that spot, they might start gaining affinity to that painting as well. But if they keep changing out the paintings, they're just doing it to cover the holes in their wall. And,
See, personally, I don't have a lot of experience putting my art at other places.
Oh, here's my main point was that if it's in a place for a long time, you can start using that place as a spot to be like, oh, if you want to check out my paintings, go do da-da-da-da.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's always a talking point. But if it changes, then
yeah,
you're just running around. You're running around. What you want is a place to expose and tell people to go check. So you always have a show.
That's why I have this showroom that we're filming Arty Time in. Because and it has worked for me. I wish I lived a little bit more centrally downtown in the big city, right across the river from me. But even though I'm like in a suburb of Montreal and I'm not in Montreal, I've still made significant sales out of this showroom just because it's set up as a showroom. Because I have lights up here, track lights that I can direct, and I have shelves over here that I put my products on. And I take this table out of here when like I have guests coming by my showroom and things like that, and I put prices up and everything. Right now I don't have them all up because I brought a bunch of my art to a show, but that's an important thing when you're showing art in a quote unquote gallery / showroom setting, is having prices there, because that does have to work for you. There's a million reasons someone can be too shy to ask you how much a painting costs. A million reasons. They could be the type of person that's just shy to ask a stranger what time it is. If they're that kind of person, trust me, they're going to be shy to ask you how much your painting is. They could have an aunt or uncle or cousin who's a painter whose paintings sell for $10,000 all the time, and they won't even ask you because they think your art's unaffordable. Or they might think that it's already sold. Or maybe one of their friends is an artist who they asked one time to buy their art, and their friend was like, oh, I would never sell one of my babies. So they think that all artists have that attachment to their art and they don't want to offend you by asking if it's for sale. Like, there's a million reasons somebody can be shy to ask you a price. If the price is blatantly right there, it's very obvious that A, your art's for sale, and B, if they can afford it or not. So it takes the awkward out of it, because nobody wants to ask how much is it and then feel like, if they can't afford it. That's a bad feeling to have as a human being. So
I remember meeting an artist that wouldn't sell his art, and the baby thing. I thought it was quite strange.
Yeah, I've come across it, and the worst part is that a lot of times those artists, they want to be famous and have their art in museums, and it's like, well, something's wrong here. How are you going to get famous if nobody's allowed to see your art unless they like come to your living room and you only have 2 paintings? Okay. But
Well, you know what? You could ask Chris Dyer, because he was like that for a bit. You can't buy it. $30,000. All right, you have $30,000? All right, you can have it.
Well, that's awesome. And even Chris, he posts prices now. For a long time, Chris Dyer did not post his prices anywhere that I knew of, but now he does have an album with his prices. Another reason is say online, if you have like a gallery of your art somewhere with all the prices, it's a lot easier to just send somebody a link to that and be like, here's all my art that's for sale, here's the prices, instead of having, sending them one picture at a time and this and that and the other thing and the DMs and everything. Like it's good to have an index of all your art that's for sale somewhere, whether it's an album on Facebook or whether it's on an Etsy shop or your own website. It's good to have somewhere all your art that's for sale with the prices, so that anyone who's interested in your art, you can quickly shoot that link to them and then they can browse at their own pace and get back to you.
It stresses me out. That kind of stuff stresses me out, bro. I made over, how many days have we been in this year? One month I made 50 paintings.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like I can't even think about cataloging them and this one.
But let me tell you,
I know I got to. I gotta make huge ones.
You would
so
sell.
There's only a few that are made.
You would sell more art if you did that. You would.
Because I make big ones?
No, because if you indexed all your art and had a link to send somebody, people might want something.
Well, I could see that happening if I had the same size canvas. If I had the same size canvas and there was 10, then I would take a picture because I would basically make them as a series. So there always would be cataloging of the series.
Mm-hmm.
But at the moment, because of the way the career is, it's just kind of like sometimes I have to thrift to get canvas to make money. That's just the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I go and get a $2 thingamajig and sell it.
But my point is that you have this inventory of a bunch of art, and because you can only post so many times a day, like people forget about things that you did a month ago. You still have them. Some people might have thought they were awesome, but they only saw them once.
Yeah, like Glow in the Dark Ninja Turtle.
They only saw them once, and then they forgot about them.
Yeah, Glow in the Dark Ninja Turtle.
I mean, we both talked about the 7 hit marketing before.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes those people that'll want to browse through your inventory of art for sale, and I did this when I used to shop for Chris Dyer's art. I used to look in his collection of skateboard art, whatever. At that time, he had like his art separated into skateboard art and canvases, and I would log on and stare at them for hours.
10,000 hours?
Not 10,000 hours.
Okay,
but I would
a master window shopper.
A master window shopper, but that master window shopper eventually turned into a collector, and now I own 9 of Chris's paintings that I spent like about $6,000 or $7,000 on.
Not 10,000.
Not quite 10,000.
So you're not a master buyer yet.
Not yet, but
master collector. I spent $10,000.
But if you count all the rest of my art, then I've definitely spent over 10,000 on my art collection. But I get, like, my point with that is that as much as art's what's the word I'm looking for, an impulse buy, it can also be something that's
planned,
and not only planned, but like
well executed. He controls the Chris Dyer market.
Well,
by basically speculating prices on what Chris Dyer paintings
I had
are
a long time.
He influences all
because I had access to all of Chris's art that was available, I had a long time to develop an emotional attachment to the pieces that I ended up buying. Whereas if I had seen them one post, and then Chris posted a bunch of, and I never saw that thing again, I probably wouldn't have bought it. But because I had a place where I could go and stare at it and imagine it on my wall, and like think about it and covet it, and like, because I had that opportunity to do that, eventually the switch flicked that, okay, I'm contacting him, I want to buy this. Because that was back in the day when Chris didn't post prices, and I was nervous about even asking him if his art was for sale, because I didn't know if he was one of these people that thought his art was babies and didn't want to sell them. And I saw him in the newspaper. That's where I found out about him, on like the front page of the entertainment section of the Montreal Gazette, which is the biggest English language newspaper in Montreal. So I thought he was famous. I didn't realize he was a college kid just getting his art career started at that time. I thought he was famous, so I was like, nervous about getting in touch with him. I didn't want to bother him with an annoying email in case I bothered his creative process. You know, he's a magical being to me. And that's how a lot of people that buy art might view you as an artist. Like, a lot of people that buy art are not artists. Artists do buy art, but my main art collectors, a lot of them are not necessarily artists. So, or they're different types of artists. Like, one of my main art collectors is mainly a carver. He does paintings, but he's mainly a carver. He does little Japanese netsuke, which is like a specific type of Japanese carving. But anyway, a lot of people, the reason they're attracted to art is because they feel like there's magic in it, and they feel like there's magic from the artist in it, and that magic is what captures them. I don't understand how you did that. Or I don't understand how your mind works, where you think of these ideas to throw all these ideas together on a canvas and come out with what you do. Or like, I don't understand how you dedicate 300 or 500 hours to one painting. Like, there's that magic. Whatever that magic is, that's what often connects with people. And that's what connected with me. So that's where my point is, that having an index of your art where people can have a chance to feel that magic over and over is going to increase sales, period.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people tell me, like, I've been looking at this painting for months on your website and I'm ready to buy it. Does it happen every day? No. Is every sale like that? No. Are some of them impulse buys where I post it and somebody buys it right away? Yes. But then there's another percentage where people, you know, look at a piece and become attached to it over months.
I think it's just important to bring up again that you gotta be willing to talk about it and be willing to say it's for sale.
Mm-hmm.
And every day, there's nothing wrong with saying what's for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Because really, in the end, you're gonna get the 7-hit marketing out of it,
Mm-hmm.
where they might not buy. When they finally are ready to buy, because you told them 7 times, let's say, theoretically,
Mm-hmm.
they might actually have wanted the 3rd time more than the 7th time. But they'll buy the 7th time because they've heard that something's for sale and that you're like, support me or whatever.
Mm.
And eventually they get the message, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They get the message, and they'll even convert on a shittier product because they'll get the message. Because the message was the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm trying to say, basically.
Yeah.
So get used to the habit of just saying, support me.
And I know we've spoken about 7-hit marketing on this podcast
Support local
before,
artists.
but it's been a while. So, like, 7-hit marketing is basically a concept in sales where somebody has to be exposed to something 7 times before they'll make a decision on whether or not to buy it. I used to manage a call center, and
it's a sense of familiarity. Once you get hit 7 times, there's a sense of familiarity, and you forget how you came into contact with it. Just know that it's a thing.
Know that it's a thing, exactly. And that's what I just wanted to explain. When I managed a call center, I was the one that ran the auto dialer, and when people got a call and they finished the call, they could put it as like, call back, not available, not interested. So people would put it as not, the person would say, we're not interested. They'd put it not interested. So I'd wait until the not interesteds piled up, and then I'd reset them and I'd put them all back into the thing. Lo and behold, how many of those not interesteds turned into sales? Lots of them. Why? Because they'd heard our name before 3 weeks ago, and now when we called them back again, even though they said they were not interested the first time, they don't remember that. They just remember they've heard our name before. And then now they're interested. So it's kind of the same thing with art. You know, people, if you're just getting started, people don't know who you are yet. They don't know your art. And sharing it in a Facebook groups or wherever you're showing your art to people, it takes consistency of showing your art to people in the same place, whether it's online or in a public place or you know, in person. That same place, that same vibe where they see it in the same type of what's the word, like situation, I guess. And then eventually, once they hit that 7th time where they're exposed to it, that's when somebody's going to usually make a decision to start buying. Again, it's not always the case. There are people that are going to impulse buy the first time they come across your stuff. Wow, this is beautiful. I want this. This is amazing. You blow my mind. I need this now. There are people like that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're an artist, the trick is learning how to sell to those people, how to sell to the people that want a window shop for a while, the people that want to pay you with cryptocurrency. It's funny because like a couple of my last sales were people paid me with cryptocurrency. And if I did not accept cryptocurrency, I wouldn't have made those sales. So that's pretty awesome. And accepting cryptocurrency isn't hard. It's really no harder than setting up a PayPal account. If you can set up a PayPal account, you can set up an account to accept cryptocurrency. And there's a lot of people out there who made a lot of money on cryptocurrency, and they literally want to see cryptocurrency work and become something that everybody uses. So they'll buy stuff from you just because you accept cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. So, it was awesome.
I still have yet to accept any crypto.
But you can, because you can accept Steam.
I'm barely online.
I know.
Barely online as it is.
But if anyone ever asks you, can you accept cryptocurrency, you can say yes.
I don't know if I would. You know what I mean? If I made it convenient for them, yes. But on the real, if they ask me, I would say no, please pull it out in hard cash and hand it to me if I'm handing you this in cash. If not, PayPal me or some shit. Make my life easy. Don't make my life into this whole
But it's not your job.
Now I'm
it's not your client's job to make
money there.
It's not your client's job to make your life easy. It's your job to make your client's life easy.
Not in that situation. In that situation, I'd rather not make the sale if I have to.
If you have to what?
If I have to be online more and have
you don't have to be online more. You have to fucking. It's the same as doing a PayPal.
So why can't he do it? No, why can't he do it? I already have to box up a painting or whatever and ship it.
Because then he has to move his money and be a pain in the ass. Like if he already has money in his PayPal quote unquote crypto account, move it to yours.
I think that's the big thing about cryptocurrency is it's gonna have to become interchangeable with PayPal or a universal aspect.
It is. It's exchangeable right with my bank account. It's hooked up to my bank account. And so can yours be. It's super easy. It's no different than a PayPal account. It's like getting paid into
No,
a
it
PayPal
wasn't,
account.
because remember when we tried to set it up and they had this long ass code and then something happened with the code and then
Yeah, it's like if you forgot your password to log into your PayPal. That's what you did. You forgot your password.
And that has happened. And that has happened before.
Yes.
Too. And there's probably some money in there that I'm not allowed to get into, and they tell me it's theirs now, and it's over. I don't put a new PayPal.
So yeah, if you're setting up a crypto wallet, make sure you don't lose your password. That's your money. So don't poo-poo cryptocurrency because you made a stupid mistake.
I think if we're gonna release secrets in episode 20, then the real secret is whatever you choose to manifest will happen. And that's the biggest double-edged sword of all time. And that's why I don't want telling the universe, bro. I don't want cryptocurrency. Don't make my life hard. I want
telling the world, give me money in any way, shape, or form from all different places. That's
Queen's face.
I'd
I'd like to have briefcases full of Queen's face. And then I just, take a little wad when I go out, and then hand it to locals. Hey, you, sir. Hey, you.
See, I don't know.
And then no one comes after you with the whole, I heard that you have a briefcase of Queen's face and we'd like our tax.
Whatever.
Unless it's people with guns.
Personally, I pay taxes, and, I've always kept my business, done properly. I file my taxes, I pay my taxes, and I don't have a problem with it, so,
I'm just saying, universe. I want it to be like a movie with the whole there's briefcases and bags full of money.
Awesome.
And we joke the government.
I've never seen a movie with artists with briefcase full of money. I've seen lots of movies with cocaine dealers and briefcases full of money.
No, cocaine dealers can buy my art. What's wrong here? They just take that briefcase full of money, they hand it to me, I give them some art. They say the art's worth that much on the wall, no need for the bank.
The trick
Who needs the bank?
We're doing this all wrong, bro. Why are we using paint? We should be making art with cocaine.
There probably is a painting that's like that.
Probably.
That has actual cocaine in it.
And I wonder how that would fly, legally. Would you be allowed to sell it?
Yeah, no one's checking your painting for cocaine.
What if, I don't know,
It's kind of a diffuser if they open a box and they see a painting, unless it's super obvious, it's bricks. Just actual bricks. But there's all kinds of paintings like that where they put gimmicky stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
Gold leaf. Have you ever gold leafed?
No, lots of people have told me I should gold leaf, but I've never gone through the trouble of it. Like I don't like it. Apparently the process isn't that hard, but I don't have I don't want to take my 8,200 hours of mandala making experience and then put my 0 hours of gold leafing experience on top of that.
See, I'm telling you, there's 10,000 hours into these subdivisions.
Yeah. So maybe one day I'll try it though. Who knows? It couldn't hurt.
I think what you do is you lay down the gold leaf. Let's say in this case, we're laying down the gold leaf, and then after you're coming back and cutting the edge, there you're laying it down and you're dropping white on the inside and doing the fill.
No, from what I understand with gold leaf is you lay down an adhesive and then you just lay down the adhesive where you want the gold leaf to stick. And it's so thin that when you peel it off, it stays where the adhesive is, and that's it.
Okay, that could be cool too.
Right. That's from what I understand. That's how gold leafing's done. I would like to eventually get into making jewelry and turning my designs into pendants and perhaps, I don't know, earrings or rings, or I don't know. There's a lot of like to do sculptures sometime. But hopefully I'll have 40, 50 more years to experiment with my art and talents and skills and ideas. So one thing at a time. If you would have told me when I started painting that one day I'd be hosting a podcast about the business side of art and having a whole line of products with my art on them, and people in 27 countries owning my art, and I would have thought you were crazy, but that's the reality, and a large part of that is because of all the hours I put into it. But let's face it, you got to put in hours. You're not going to make an art career if you're painting 3 hours a week and promoting 1 hour a week. It's not going to happen.
But it's
better to start there than start nowhere. But
suffice to say though, it's good to try a whole bunch of things. I mean, I tried a whole bunch of things in my 20s and stuff like that, and then eventually came across painting.
I was 31 when I painted my first painting.
And not saying that my highest joy is I guess it is kind of painting, but really it also comes down to it's just an oversized version of a drawing, and that's why it just makes it more fun. Because drawing is also super fun for me, but bigger tools and a bigger piece of paper. Oh, good God! I think it all stems from that, and that's something that I always did when I was a kid. The first thing that I kind of remember doing is drawing. So I guess, is it something that you were doing when you were young? Being creative in that way? Or?
Yes, but not really. I mean, I can remember drawing when I was a kid. What
was the passion when you were really young?
I don't even remember really what my passion was when I was a kid. Running around. I played outside a lot.
Yeah, me too. I'm saying no one else drew. At that stage, no one else drew. No one was drawing.
I don't know. I drew, but it wasn't like I thought about it. It was just scribbling and garbage. It wasn't it was for fun. It was like a toy. I was playing with a toy. My pencils were toys. They weren't art materials. It was just another toy.
Yeah, it was a toy. I would draw an army versus another army.
One of my favorite things to do when I was a kid was, in the dirt underneath swings, there's that dirt spot where your feet hit. I'd take marbles, me and my friend Dan across the street, and we'd dig a little holes and put sticks, and if there was a puddle nearby, maybe bring some water and fill one of the holes with water and whatever, and we'd make mini marble golf courses in the dirt spots underneath the swings, and we'd flick it and have a hole at the end where
that's the original game, bro. Marbles.
And it was marble golf because we were making a mini golf course where you had obstacles and sand traps and water pits, and you had to flick your marble and get around all these obstacles.
You didn't play that at school? You didn't gamble and play that at school?
No, we didn't play marbles at school. We played stems.
Oh, I played marbles at school.
You didn't play stems?
What the fuck, stems?
Stems, bro. Stems. It was a big game. Stems.
Pick up sticks?
Nope. You'd take leaves that fell down. You'd take the leaf off, and you'd wrap the two stems around each other, and you'd pull. And whoever's stem broke lost. And like whoever stem won played the next guy. And like if your stem was strong, you lasted all day. Stems.
Yeah, I guess that's a funny game that we can still play to this day.
Mm-hmm.
But marbles involved gambling.
Mm-hmm.
And you could gamble things, and you would be golfing, basically.
Stems involve bragging rights. We never really gambled in our school much.
Oh, every school I went to, this changed at one point, they were always, looking back, we were always gambling.
Mm.
And the school had to outlaw things at some point.
Yeah, I mean...
No Pokemon cards.
In high school, we started gambling, but not in my elementary school. No one was really gambling.
One thing, it's not gambling with money. It's not gambling with money, but the spirit is there. The spirit of wagering things on a game.
I can't remember ever doing that. I'm not saying we didn't. I can't remember ever doing that.
I just think it's natural for humans to do that.
Mm.
The wager.
Mm.
So are we supposed to be giving something away? Isn't that the whole thing that we wagered on episode 20?
We were supposed to, so we said we might do some giveaways, yeah. We did say that. I think we should give away the link to 19 other episodes of Arty Time. Isn't that an amazing gift? It's like index them all in one place, send a link, it makes life easier. No, we gotta actually give something away. So what are we gonna give away?
If you're listening live right now, I don't think you're gonna want to write your fucking address in the comments, but drop us a comment and we'll hit you up.
Mm-hmm.
And we're only gonna check the comments for this shit right after we stop this thing. And anyone else who listens to that after the fact is gonna be like, "Oh, shucks, man, I should have watched that live episode 20 because they gave away some shit." And we'll just send you something in the mail.
Send you something cool, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no magnets because Adam's not allowed to put his freaking magnets out there.
No, we're allowed to send magnets as long as it's not with a stamp.
What do you mean? You need a stamp to send the mail?
No, if you send it as a package, then it doesn't go with a stamp.
Oh!
I can send my magnets through the mail if I send it as a package, but then it costs me like $9 with no tracking.
Yeah, well, I don't want to give away what we're going to send, but I don't think you're going to be sending...
No, I'm not going to send people magnets. There's going to be something better than magnets.
Down the machines, we're going to be outlawed from posting ever again. I'll be involved with you because my name will be on there.
Yep.
So we'll punish both of you. Stopping the whole Canadian mail system with your
Well, I had some men in black show up at my house the other day and asked me about my association with vampires. And I said,
and the Rocco and Fabio?
What the fuck are you talking about? So, yeah. That didn't actually happen. There were no men in black.
No?
No.
Because they wouldn't be wearing black, bro. That'd be too conspicuous.
Mm-hmm.
They'd just be regular folk.
Mm-hmm.
For all you know, I'm NCIS. And I'm here to find out if you really killed John Doe on that boat that day.
John Doe on that boat that day. I know what you did last summer. So, yeah,
this has been episode 20.
On that note, this has pretty much been episode 20. I'm looking forward to read that comment and
stay tuned. We have to make it all the way to episode 10,000.
Yeah, we have 9,980 more episodes, or 9,980 more episodes coming your way.
It's not even possible.
It's totally possible. Let's check out. You know what? I'm curious. How many episodes of Coast to Coast are there so far?
Yeah,
I know Art Bell died, so like that's kind of like his 10,000. I don't know if he reached 10,000 hours. But he's the guy hosting it now. George Norrie, right?
Yeah, but wasn't he doing 3 hours a night?
I don't know if I didn't listen to it regularly. I listened to a few of them randomly on YouTube or whatever. But
it's pretty much
I don't know if it was every night or not.
It's pretty much 3-4 hours a night.
Holy shit, bro, we're slacking.
So
we are slacking.
If you want to be a radio show host, you can get your 10,000 hour in a year. You just have to like be on the radio yakking, and people calling him, and he's like, "Hello, this is George Norrie." And
no, you can't get it in a year.
You know what my favorite George Norrie episode is?
No.
You do. It's when that guy calls from Area 51 and then the thing goes out.
Oh, I've read about
and
that.
Then,
I don't know.
And then
I haven't listened to it.
He calls back in 2 weeks later. Best!
I didn't know that he called back.
Best! Oh yeah, dude, he calls back and even George... Well, I'm not going to say even, but I don't believe him and neither does George Norrie. On the call, he's like... It's just weird. He just comes back and says that like, oh no, it's just me and it's a character that I play. And he's like, and he starts playing that character again, but it's just like, it's weird. It's just like, why are you fucking calling back? Just shut up. Even if it was you and you got away with it, but like, oh, now you're so you have to look into it. It's the best.
Cool. I will probably
The
look
whole
into it.
coast to coast thing goes down, and they have to go on a back. They have to go on a back generator to get back on air because of what the guy was saying about Area 51.
But George Norrie doesn't believe him?
No, George Norrie, the first time after it comes back, he's like, what happened? And the guy that's on the phone with him now is like, oh, bro, you've been off the air for like 2 minutes. And he's like, how much did you hear about the last guy? And like, oh, he cut off after he started crying and stuff. And he's like, oh, shit, I think there's some people that didn't want you to hear that. And he literally says that. I think there was people that didn't want you to hear that. And it's about the government.
Arty Time shut down.
They're gonna shut us down when I tell you this, but it's about the government. They know it's coming. They know it's coming. It's gonna kill a lot of us, and they gotta do something, but they're not gonna tell us.
Alice